stop me if you've heard this before. The LA Chargers are dealing with injuries. It was not a good couple of weeks for the LA Chargers, and things got a little bit worse yesterday. Rashawn Slater is done for the year with a biceps injury. Joey Bosa is dealing with what Brandon Staley is calling a significant groin injury, which just sounds painful. Jalen Guyton's now out for the year. He's got a knee injury. You got Justin Herbert banged up. Keenan Allen missed the game. Corey Linsley, their center. J.C. Jackson's been banged up. What the hell's going on with the Chargers? Every year, this team is dealing with injuries like this. Every year.
They had like 8 players in like the NFL top 100, and like 5 of them are injured. It's ridiculous. I think it's ever since they moved from San Diego, they've been snake bitten. I'm not sure what you attribute it to, but at this point, they need to start looking to some like outside the realm of spiritual healing here. I mean, I'm not sure who we need to talk to, but they need to figure this out because it really has put a damper in a number of their seasons. They're just too talented, and they are constantly dealing with injuries.
I mean, normally it was
maybe a Marvin Gaye hit type of healing. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just need some alternatives, outside of just regular, conventional sports medicine, so to speak.
Well, when they tried to use conventional sports medicine, some guy got stabbed. So there was that.
They did puncture the lung.
That's what I'm saying. We need to go outside into like a different spiritual realm.
That's
what I just said.
Well, Marvin Gaye is one thing, but there's other things out there Jonas is very familiar with.
Like, what are you referring to? Is it some of that root weed that Aaron Rodgers smokes? That stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
There's some of that. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. All right. I mean, the Chargers have been dealing with this forever, and I don't understand how. I mean, they're like one team that you can just bank on it every year. Hey, the Chargers look like they have a Super Bowl roster. Yeah, but unless they get hit by injuries, then it's every year we talk about this with this team.
I know we've thrown out
it's chronic great weather living injuries.
Come on. The Dolphins don't deal with these type of injuries. I mean, the Jaguars, who are the best.
Tua just got his head, banged up.
But he came back in that thing.
They deal with some injuries.
The only person who deals with these sorts of injuries is Christian McCaffrey. So.
And we know how he heals.
That's not good weather injuries.
And we know how he heals.
But it's kind of the same premise, though. You get to enjoy things away from the game when you're injured.
That's a good point.
If you're Christian McCaffrey.
That's a good point. Now,
just thought I'd put that out there.
So here was Brandon Staley, of course, was asked after the game that Justin Herbert played, obviously dealing. He didn't look like he was 100% at times during that game. He was dealing with the rib injury, the cartilage issue, and all that. And so he was being hounded as to why he was still in the game and still playing when the game was clearly out of reach, and they were just getting the doors blown off him by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So here was the...
Who saw that coming, by the way, before the year?
I did not. I did. Here was the Chargers head coach after the game.
He wanted to be out there with his teammates. He felt good. And he wanted to finish the game. He wanted to, give our group some energy. We were going to protect him there at the end with, really sound protection as best we could. But, it was more about, him wanting to finish with his guys.
Franchise quarterback, is there at some point as the coach you need to step in and say you already have a significant injury?
For sure. Believe me, throughout the entire game. That's the first thought throughout the game and at the end of the game. And so, trust me, there's no one that's thinking about it more than I am.
Why take that risk then? If that's at the front of your mind and it's that important, why take the risk of having him in there?
Daniel, that was just the decision that we made, and it was about us finishing that game as a team, and it was important to us that we did it.
Brandon, was there any discussion between you and him?
Yes.
About coming?
Yes, there definitely was.
And he was adamant that he wasn't coming out?
So there was. That was Brandon Staley having to answer to the media as to why his quarterback was still out there. I mean, he didn't rip 2 ligaments in his knee, right? I mean, he was still able to throw the ball somewhat, and he only got sacked once. It's not like, he was getting blown away by like Carson Wentz was or like Daniel Jones was last night where they had no time to throw the football. Yeah, he didn't look 100%, but it's almost like they're alluding to Brandon Staley being reckless having Justin Herbert out there. First of all, like, Justin Herbert's not going to ask out of that game. And secondly, like, Brandon Staley would put him in harm's way if he really felt like he needed to step in and do something there. I don't know why he's getting his balls broken by people because he had Justin Herbert out there in a blowout. I mean, come on.
I think the question really should be, could he make the injury worse by being out there? And is that going to impact his play moving forward, or the potential to lose him for a longer period of time? I don't believe that to be the case. I've dealt with bruised ribs and torn cartilage and all that before, where really we just kind of numbed it up and you went on, you kept playing. But again, I don't know the specifics to his issue that he's dealing with or how he's feeling when he's out there. There are times when you saw him playing, it looked like he was grimacing in pain, and that's going to happen when you get some guys who hit you or lay on you or you kind of land on it the wrong way. Even with it getting numbed up, there's still going to be spots where it doesn't feel so good. But that being said, there's also the element of what Justin Herbert wants to do. He's the one out there playing. He's the one out there battling. And I'm sure if he feels like, hey, I'm getting shot up just to go play this game, I'm going to finish this thing. There's a lot of quarterbacks who feel that way and want to try to go out and end on a higher note if they can. It may not make sense to people on the outside because at some point, there's no chance you're going to win this game, but it doesn't mean that you don't want to be out there battling with the rest of your teammates. So there's something to be said for his leadership, and I think who he is as a person. Even when the odds are stacked against him, and it looks like they're not going to win, he still wants to be out there fighting with his guys.
That's cute, and they're going to need that too. Honestly, with everything they got going on with these injuries, they're going to need that type of leadership. They're going to need that type of support. So whether somebody liked it or not, the one thing that it comes down to when you're in these scenarios and situations is you definitely know that the decisions that you make are going to have a bearing and a weight on what your job security is. So if he feels as though he did it for something that is potentially going to impact his team positively moving forward, if Herbert made the decision, was a part of it based upon that same thought process, I don't think there's any reason to get up in arms about it, because in the end, whether you're up in arms about it or not, the only opinions that matter are those of the ones that were involved in what took place, for one. And then for two, if it doesn't pan out the way that you'd like for it to pan out, I would much rather it not panning out, me doing it how I wanted to do it as a head coach, us doing it together as a head coach and a player the way that we wanted to, knowing that we gave ourselves the best opportunity and our interpretation of it to have success as a team.
By the way, they had 26 rushing yards in that game.
I mean, that should be more of a point of contention. If you really want to protect Justin Herbert, have some balance.
They're dead last.
God.
They're dead last in the league in rushing. They're averaging
right up there
2.6.
They're right up there next to the Kansas City and their lack of just wanting to run the football. And defenses keep being like, please, we'll give you 5 yards a pop. Like, we will let you run the football and get 5 yards of rush if you just go ahead and run. They don't even attempt to. It's unbelievable.
That's pretty wild, man. Yeah, they're averaging 2.6 yards a rush, and then you just lost your best offensive lineman. I mean, that was a bad weekend in not only the AFC West but for the LA Chargers there. So to all of our people listening on what is it called, Brady, out here in LA? What do they call it? The local affiliate?
The Blue Torch.
AM 570 LA Sports.
Wow.
The Blue Torch.
Our apologies for what is happening with your LA Chargers.